welcome to our broadcast, folks. Let us know if you're seeing us clearly and you're hearing us clearly as well. We had the sitting of the National Assembly all day today. We're just back from there in studios, folks, and making sure that we got enough content to share with you guys this evening to give you guys a snapshot of some of what took place during the course of the day. Let us know if you're hearing us clearly, you're seeing us clearly. Good to have each and every one of you with us. I see Everett is here, and John, and Mark, and Andrew, and Marlene, and Debbie, and all the folks here with us. They don't want to disappoint you guys by not having a show tonight. So much happened today. As I said, we are right back from a sitting of the National Assembly. Auntie Sandra Hanover is here, and David Papin, and Leon, and Margaret, and Hetty, and Grace, and Don Walkup. Good night to each and every one of you, and to Bishop One Edgil, because I know he watches our program. A lot of them are watching our program, and they're worried about what we're saying at this end, folks. They are worried with what we are saying at this end. How are you folks doing? Great to have you on this end. Great to have each and every one of you folks. They're worried about us. At this end, they're worried about us. Auntie Sandra and Keith and Lester, Colvis, Nigel, and Anthony. They are very, very, very worried about us. Penelope and Joylyn, Clangron, good to have you there. Good to have each and every one of you. We hope that you guys have had a great day. You hit the ground running, folks, from the start of the day. I know lots of you still at it. Mark, Bridget, Odessa, good to have each and every one of you on the live. As I said, folks, they are looking at us. They're worried about us, what we do, what we say. And most of all, they're concerned that you all are watching us. Y'all are watching us because we got the numbers. We pull more people to our broadcast than Jagdio and Ali put together. And we still got change. We still got change. They're worried about us.
I anticipate the people being in the ring tonight to show some garbage here or some road that got a pothole. Because that is what the ring is all about. Sensationalism and taking minuscule items and magnifying it and creating optical illusions.
How can we disappoint, folks? How can we disappoint when we aim to please? We aim to please. How can we disappoint? Share the like, folks. Smash that emoji button. It's not me. It's because Leslie here. It's because Marlene here, and Debbie, and Dolly, and Joylyn, and you all are watching them. And Anita Atkins. It's because you wonderful folks tune in each and every night. You're getting worried. Carlisle, Tessa, Wilma, Angela, Jordan. It's because you all tune in. Share the damn live, man, so more people can watch us. So more people can watch us. You all apparently like the optical illusions. You know, One Edgil and Irfan and Jack, they're going to start doing some optical illusions on their side. Please and thank you. That's what they're going to have to start doing. But this is what's about, folks. General and regional elections 2025, they're upon us. They are upon us. And folks, the battle is on for the minds of Guyanese. And that's why you can hear them talking more about in the ring. That's why they're watching us. They tap with phones. They're following us. They're trying to sue us. They can't keep us down, though, as long as you folks are backing us. They can't keep us down, Gladstone Matthews and Tessa and Joyce and Sylvia. They can't touch we. That's what I'm saying. Like Sis Mingo, Rudy, Bantu, Camille, the Honorable Camille, Mackenzie, Lynette Cox, Rihanna Mingo, Cheryl Glenn. They can't touch us. As long as we stick together, they can try to divide us, you know. Make one and two folks some offers to run out and start behaving basta. But as long as we hold the fort, they can't touch us. Any of us can't touch us. You see that corruption perception index? Oh my God, it's in the mind. They're worried, folks. They are sorely worried. Oh, there is one good name. Everything bad is happening to AFC. Everything good is them for the opener as we get into our broadcast. Cameron Ramjatan, co-leader of the Alliance for Change, makes a point about the corruption perception index. And that we as a parliamentary opposition, we've been vindicated in what we've always said. Take a look. Take a listen. Open up.
Co-founded the Alliance to Change, Cameron Ramchetan, has described the Transparency International report as vindicating the long-held views of the party.
That 2024 report goes on to assert, and to quote, although the country has created anti-corruption institutions and laws, transparency and law enforcement are very low, with attacks on dissenting voices, activists, and journalists increasingly common.
He said that the report places Guyana in the bottom part of the corruption scale.
President Ali's response that the body's report are actuated by political bias is hollow, to say the least. All Guyanese know that what is in the report is very much the reality. Contracts are awarded to friends and family. Substandard works are done by unqualified contractors. Billions of dollars are wasted and discriminatorily distributed, and even more billions go unaccounted for.
He said that critics of the government are harassed.
Opponents routinely see unfavorable regulatory decision-making and a refusal of licenses and concessions so as to compel a towing of the line. This result and has resulted in fear all across Guyana.
He said that the level of corruption is responsible for the non-functioning of the many parliamentary committees. These are the bodies to scrutinize spending.
Even our parliament has become hobbled by its long periods of inactivity. And when there is activity, the lexicon is hobbled to the ridiculous extent that parliamentarians are prohibited from quoting, will be prohibited from quoting this year's corruption index on the ridiculous ground that corruption is a banned word.
Another issue was the charge for dialysis.
It does seem as though we have some trouble there. Why not just let us take that insert back from the top?
Co-founded the Alliance to Change, Cameron Ramchetan, has described the Transparency International report as vindicating the long-held views of the party.
That 2024 report goes on to assert, and to quote, although the country has created anti-corruption institutions and laws, transparency and law enforcement are very low, with attacks on dissenting voices, activists, and journalists increasingly common.
He said that the report places Guyana in the bottom part of the corruption scale.
President Ali's response that the body's report are actuated by political bias is hollow, to say the least. All Guyanese know that what is in the report is very much the reality. Contracts are awarded to friends and family. Substandard works are done by unqualified contractors. Billions of dollars are wasted and discriminatorily distributed, and even more billions go unaccounted for.
He said that critics of the government are harassed.
Opponents routinely see unfavorable regulatory decision-making and a refusal of licenses and concessions so as to compel a towing of the line. This result and has resulted in fear all across Guyana.
He said that the level of corruption is responsible for the non-functioning of the many parliamentary committees. These are the bodies to scrutinize spending.
Even our parliament has become hobbled by its long periods of inactivity. And when there is activity, the lexicon is hobbled to the ridiculous extent that parliamentarians are prohibited from quoting, will be prohibited from quoting this year's corruption index on the ridiculous ground that corruption is a banned word.
Another issue was the charge for dialysis. Dr. Colin Haynes said that Borbicians who seek dialysis in the Borbis Hospital must now pay for the service.
Now, at the New Amsterdam Hospital, whether you are outpatient or inpatient, you never had to pay. Under the coalition government, it was free. Now, reports are suggesting that members of the public have to pay $13,000 for dialysis service. Now, the standard amount of dialysis patients undergo when they have kidney failure is 3. So about $40,000 the average Guyanese have to come out and pay a week for dialysis service.
He said that the $9 billion allocation for non-communicable diseases should be enough to allow for free dialysis.
All right, folks, there you have it. There you have it. There you have it. The Corruption Perception Index says there's lots of corruption in Guyana in the public sector. That's why the people got to pay for their own dialysis now. Without oil, Guyanese, can you imagine that? That without oil monies, we subsidize dialysis treatment for our brothers and sisters ailing with these health challenges. We subsidized it. And with oil money, people got to now pay. They've now closed down some of those places that we opened up where persons could go and seek treatment as we try to decentralize treatment in this country. But yet they say, the coalition never do nothing. We have never done anything. And let's say to you folks, this is an election year. It's an election year. Remember, since the last elections, a number of persons, our Guyanese brothers and sisters, were charged for electoral fraud. 4 years ago, charged. I don't know why we don't move the requisite motion, as it were, and have these charges dismissed. You know, we got people back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And lots of this, you'll remember me saying here that when the previous magistrate, Liron Daly, reprimanded, upbraided the Queen's Counsel for not having his act together with his statements, that led to much delay with these trials. They got on the way today. Again, remember there was a ruling that these trials need to go from the start. And so they began, the trial began today. All of the persons, of course, pleading not guilty to these trumped up, bogus charges. We're living in a twilight zone in this country. The PPP got supervisory jurisdiction of the court system in this country. At least they'd like to believe so. In the US, people who've been charged attempting to subvert the will of the people, persons faced jail time, were in jail, pardoned by Trump. Pardoned by Trump. And we can't get one conviction here yet. The PP can't even bring one conviction yet. Why? Trumped up, bogus to the core. This is simply the PPP going after their political enemies, who they perceive to be. And they always talk about APNU AFC, rigging or attempting to rig. They can't even pick a struggle. Which is it? But the majority of folks that they have charged are GCOM staff. And yet with all of this, folks, we know that they're innocent too. Bogus, as I said, and trumped up charges. But while they preach out to one side of their mouth, rigging at GCOM and attempted rigging of the last general and regional elections, GCOM refuses to do a review. Can you believe that? They refuse to do an interrogation of their own systems. Please and thank you. If you have said your systems, there was attempted compromise. Won't you want to know where and how and all of that? GCOM rather other people to tell them. The courts, the COI. We see what's happening here. We see what's happening here, Jagdio. Irfan, we see what is happening here. Don't make me something. Don't try to make me something. As I said, today was a sitting of the National Assembly. Today was a sitting of the National Assembly. I think they're meeting next week as well. I think we are meeting next week as well as National Assembly. Quite a few things happen in the National Assembly I want to bring you guys up to speed to. It seems like everybody these days doing a poll. Now the Speaker of the National Assembly, Mansour Nadir, he'll be forgotten. He'll be relegated to the dustbins of history in this country. He had to do a poll to tell him if he's performing well. He has done his own performance index to see if he's doing well. Folks, it's amazing. His colleagues number in the majority in the National Assembly, and they can't tell him, you know. He has to do a whole poll. According to him, I want to know who funded this poll. I want to know what was the methodology. Like the Sherry says of the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, she said, oh, this can't be the only standard internationally. Please and thank you. We want to know too the funding of this poll. Perhaps the Speaker had some stakeholders, like the head of the police force in the Brutus matter, the wedding planner. Perhaps he had some stakeholders too. What was the methodology used? Speaker of the National Assembly touting his magnificent performance in the poll. It seems that only he has seen the polls.
From the polls I've seen, yours truly has been given excellent ratings, except for a few persons, in the execution of the job of Speaker. However, in spite of the Speaker's intellect and experience, there are some moments of lapses. And allowing this question was one of such moments.
Welcome back. I know you're bright. I know Guyanese are bright. At home and abroad, wherever you live, wherever you reside. Faith Family Brown, I know you all are bright. Deborah Sharona Lynch, Yvette Miller. Yvette says, at least that's what I think stew means. It's true, she did. Please and thank you. The man, he's done polls. And he has high ratings. How come I never see this poll? How come I never participated? This can't be a democracy. And members of parliament not privy to the poll. Anthony Jarvis. Anthony says, pim. How come we weren't privy to the poll? Come on, folks. We're Guyanese too. Previous to the poll. Please and thank you. Remember, we've been talking about the amount of people who've been fired since the PPP came in. From dog handler to cleaner to executive, department heads, regular everyday staff, ordinary Guyanese, just going about their business, not political. Member of Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Haley, slipped me. Tabitha Sarabo Haley put a question to the minister, and he responded today. They said they resigned. They said persons resigned. But we know a lot of persons were forced to resign. A lot of persons were coerced to resign. Please and thank you. They have said the persons resigned. You believe them? We know it's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Guyanese who were forced to resign. The only one see where your hair texture look like, you know. 1, 2, 3, out you go. Please and thank you. 1, 2, 3, out you go. And there's a caveat to these numbers. According to the Minister of Finance, or I should say, the minister within the office of the president with responsibility for finance and the public service. These are his numbers. I think he'll tell you a caveat. It's not the full picture. Take a look.
I can only imagine that she's asking me in my capacity as minister responsible for the public service. Sir, as a former minister of public service, your member would, I believe, be aware that teachers, police officers, and soldiers do not fall within the remit of the public service ministry. But in relation to those agencies and categories of public service employees who do fall within the remit of the Ministry of the Public Service Ministry, it is my duty, sir, to inform the honourable member that a total of 2,832 employees are, based on information currently available at the ministry and supplied to me by the technical team at the ministry, a total of 2,832 employees are estimated to have resigned from the public service between the period from August 2020 to December 2024.
832, and he said these figures do not include teachers, police officers, and soldiers. They don't include those numbers. 2,800 people resign. Resign. We told you. We told you. This is what was taking place. Mass firings. Since you were a little green, God forbid, a little yellow mixed in. Say, no, you with them boys. You either resign or we knock you off. Publish your name. You all remember? You're lying on edge. Remember, she put your hand in the Bible. She come in the assembly and say, oh, these public servants were political. 2,800. And they don't include teachers, police, soldiers. You are hearing this, folks? The wicked. That's what we're telling you. The stink and the dirty. Nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. Folks, today in the National Assembly, a simple motion came before the National Assembly seeking government's intervention for the restoration of the Repentir. We want to look nice for the PPP because we're going to resign them to the Repentir. So we want to look nice. You all know historically, folks, City Hall has always had money challenges. Whether it was controlled by the PNCR, APNU, AFC, whether it was controlled by the PPP's IMC, you all remember that? The days when City Hall was managed by an interim management committee, an IMC. Am I alone in my recollection? You all remember the days when City Hall was managed, when the mayor at City Hall was Campton Young? Mr. Young had a beautiful floral shop on Middle Street. You all remember that? And then the PPP pushed him out. The PPP bringing an interim management committee for years. Lots of the local authority areas, municipalities, NDCs were managed by an IMC. Once they find you too independent of thought, you're not towing the line, they find some reason to knock you out. An IMC in your skin. You remember that name? Mayor Compton Young. You remember that? Those times? But the lying PPP would have you believe that City Hall from start to finish, top to bottom, has always been managed by the APNU AFC or by the PNC. And so this simple motion came before the National Assembly. Let us together as a country with all this oil money fix up the Repentir. It is not just okay for us to build a road through it. Suddenly we talking about fixing up the Repentir. Them boys suddenly got a plan. Them boys suddenly got a plan. If you see Edgel in the National Assembly, it's like Airfam with a little piece of paper, on a live showing you the data. Mr. Speaker, if you would look here, praise God, Robo, if you would look here, this is our plan. He got a Google Maps image. This is where we'll put down the road. You see these lines here? And I mouth twist on said because he's talked through both sides of his mouth. Right? It was MP Annette Ferguson, who after the bishop spoke, made an interesting intervention. An interesting intervention. He said, but minister, if you got this big lavish plan and it involves money, because it's a big plan, right? We aren't waiting on your little motion. We got a big plan for the Repentir. We got spot fair, fun spot for January, spot fashioning. We got big plans. The former minister, Annette Ferguson, she says, Minister, we just finished the budget thing last week. How come now in the budget we see allocations? I'll let the lady talk show and story.
Sometimes I wonder, Mr. Speaker, whether the government, because they like to copy, they don't come with nothing original, They like to plagiarize, they don't come with nothing original. So I can only conclude, Mr. Speaker, that they were able to get a quick peep of their plan at the main city council, and the bishop know that he had to speak to this motion, hurriedly come up with something to say that, well, look, this is what central government is going to do, because nowhere in budget 2025, Mr. Speaker, nowhere in budget 2025, Bishop, have I seen allocation for the beautification of the Lee Repentir Cemetery. So perhaps your colleague, I don't know if it's not under your ministry, and I haven't seen it under her ministry, the Honorable Sonia Parag.
Oh my God, facts and stubborn things. They're claiming this is a multi-billion-dollar project. Weed down the grass and build back the streets through the cemetery. They can use 2 feet between the tombs. They can specify now how you must build your tombs, charge a tax for doing that. Then they can run some concrete pathway. The bishop said this is $2 billion, $3 billion. And here you have the minister, former minister, Annette Ferguson, on her feet, saying then, show us in the budget where you plan to do this. It's making up thing on the spot, Oh, we got a restoration of Georgetown plan, master project. All right, show me where in the budget that you just passed, where you would have allocated and appropriated funds. For what you going to do? Well, we're still waiting. We still holding. Please and thank you. And you know one of the things they like to say? You know one of the things they like to say? Look how you got this city. Look how you got this city. a dirty and a alley. And furthermore, City Hall can't spend money good. And furthermore, City Hall has not been audited since 1832 under the APNU. It has not been audited. And furthermore, if Congress pay the taxes, we could restore the Repentir cemetery to its former glory. And you see that piece about the mismanagement of City Hall? You see that piece about Congress players owing taxes? It's a lie. But they talk half. Typical PPP. They talk half and the left half. I can talk the next half. We can talk the next half tonight. Number one, when they talk about certain things of the recent past, we ask how come City Hall and APNU and the PNC in particular so bad? How come parking meter is so bad? But y'all take change screen? City Hall and its management, financial management was so poor. But former Mayor Chase Green is your best friend now. How come? How come? How come? You know who asked the question? I rather she made a statement about it. Shadow Finance Minister, Charity Finance, on her feet, folks. On her feet in the National Assembly. Asked the question, with the same lady, and y'all claim that City Hall run down and they don't have a manager. Y'all think the same woman who used to preside over the same mismanagement that you allege of City Hall is not the same person y'all got with.
Mr. Speaker, as I sat and I listened to the presentations that went before me, sir, I think I was a little amazed by some of what I heard earlier, sir, and it would be remiss of me to not say at this time, since I'm dealing with financial institutions. I heard our colleague earlier, the Honorable Edgel, spoke about the Auditor General's report from 2017. And I will start by saying, sir, that it is amazing that Mr. Honorable Edgel would come to the House and read word for word from a 2017 Auditor General's report, whilst the PPP simultaneously parades the street with the then mayor dressed in her red t-shirt, happily united as colleagues today.
You see, once you start wearing red, Lester, who me? If you start wearing red right now, they like you. Sparkle if you start wearing red right now, the Techian, Beatrice, Stacey and Stoll, Sharon, Stacey and got to see on the live tonight, Raquel Gentle, if you start wearing red now, you and them is best friend. Lester Williams, the Techian, they embrace you. Same woman presided over City Hall. And lots of what they talk about. Oh, City Hall has a management, has responsibility for Repentir. You all have not been working at City Hall in the people's interest, but you're going Chase Green. And Trisha. And some other Navakamites. Some other Kavakamites. You're going with them. Folks, as I said, the next thing they come after, the next thing they say, PNCR owe taxes, AFC owe taxes. as I've said. And if you had only paid these taxes, we could fix up Repentir with PPP got for go. You know, they like the dead and say, if I want to go in the cemetery and do a live. And they like to go in the cemetery and do the voter registration. But we were reminded today of the other half of the story. Because the talking half and the laughing half on this rates and taxes, among other things. The talking half, folks, and laughing half on this rates and taxes being paid, among other things. Parliamentary Opposition Chief Whip Christopher Jones was on his feet today in the National Assembly, and he reminded them of a few things. Take a look. Take a listen.
The honourable member spoke about monies owed to the Georgetown City Council by the People's National Congress reform. And you know, sir, to do a similar paraphrase to the honourable member Deborah Bakker, who sat in this house, at the time she was speaking about various political parties, that every party has bad eggs. But in this context, sir, I would want to say that all political parties owes the Georgetown City Council. Based on the records I received from the Georgetown City Council, the People's Progressive Party Civic owes the Georgetown City Council. And if the figure is correct, it is some 7.7 billion Ghana dollars. If the figure is correct. But what is more so, sir, I'll take you back to under the APNU AFC administration, in which a memo or instruction directing all government agencies and ministries to pay rates and taxes, whether it's to the city or the municipalities, and they had to pay those over. Because the National Sports Commission, for example, paid to City Hall a sum of $50 million in our rates and taxes. And therefore, sir, it is the responsibility for central government to ensure that monies go to the City Council via the very ministries. Now, Comrade Speaker, the proof in the pudding. I have here, sir, a list of government agencies and ministries that owes rates and taxes to the Georgetown City Council. And in this list, sir, for example, I'll just go through a few. The Ministry of Health, Building, Battery Road, Kingston, $1.334024 million. Ministry of Public Works, Water Street, Kingston, $1,103,207 million. Ministry of Public Works, 16 Mud Water, Kingston, $606 million, $606,000. Ministry of Public Works, Water Street, Kingston, $15.865359 million. Guyana Police Force Revenue, Rumvelt location, $235,000, and the list goes on. Page after page after page, sir, of ministries and government agencies that has outstanding monies for the Georgetown City Council. And using the same point from the Honourable Minister Edgil and Robeson Ben, if the government ministries and agencies pay to the Georgetown City Council these rates and taxes that they have outstanding, the City Council wouldn't need a single dollar from central government.
You're wicked if you ain't share the life yet. You're wicked if you ain't share the life. That's facts. The PPP owes City Hall $7 billion. You know what the good book says? The good book see them coming long, you know. Long the good book see them coming. You remember Jesus on the cross? Father said, turn this cup from me. Father like cup. He said, turn the cup from me. You see? We talked about the keys of the kingdom. Is the FC talking about, you know? When they go into Jerusalem, what do they do? Not the palm tree. But we said about the cup, he said, turn it from me. I ain't want a damn cup. I tell you what Father said. He see them coming from long. Hypocrites, generation of vipers. It's a point garnish my Paul. Member of Parliament, Shadow Minister for Local Government and Regional Development picked upon this same note of the rate and taxes. And there was a particular PPP minister. Oh, he had some well wishes, quote unquote, for the city's residents. These same people who come now and claiming how they like the city so much. He had some well wishes, this former PP minister, Ganesh Mahipal, on his speech in the National Assembly. Take a look.
Madam Deputy Speaker, let me say that in communication with the Georgetown mayor, the government, the PPP government, that is what Honorable Christopher Jones said. The PPP government owes the mayor and city council $7.7 billion. $7.7 billion. Pay the people their money so they could do work. Pay the people their money so they can do work. And you know what, Madam Deputy Speaker? Between 2015, when we had a budget in August of 2015, to the last budget that we had, which was in November of 2018 for 2019, not a cent the coalition didn't owe City Hall. Their rates and taxes were paid. So the PPP government needs to stop coming to this house with a line item that says rates and taxes have billions of dollars in its accumulated amount and not transferring it to its rightful place, which is the mayor and city council of Georgetown.
Correct.
And the NDCs also. And Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, Gaisuku owe them too. Gaisuku owe NDCs lots of monies. So please, the next time you come with your supplementary, which is probably one more time you're going to get for come, probably in July, because we know November you're gone. So when you come in July for the supplementary, please ensure you cater to pay the NDCs so that they can do their work and develop their communities. Madam Deputy Speaker, we got to remember also, as I said, the PPP wants us to believe that, it's only 2020 we start. We weren't there all the time. 2020 is when God said, let's do it, and we start, and that's when Guyana started to flourish. They didn't have nothing like Kelvin Lal. Kelvin Lal wasn't one of them. Was he one of you? Oh, the house went into silence. Kelvin Lal was the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development. He was the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development when he said that he wished for an epidemic in the city. He wished for an epidemic to break out in the city. And a couple of mornings after he said that, remember we had what? Chikungunya. We had chikungunya. These are the honorable people. The honorable people who want us to believe that they were not existing there. Madam Deputy Speaker, the records will show that in 2015, when the coalition came to government, the transformative agenda that was on the table, that commenced without oil, is what these honorable people over there are building on with oil money. And it is no different from 1992 when we had the economic recovery program in place. It was the PNC that brought the economic recovery program, and they inherited in 1992, strived on it, and made significant movement. And it was there from up to 1997, and then we started to see the decay on the Barajagdio when he came about.
Facts, folks. Facts. If you share the life, yet you're wicked. If you ain't share the live yet, you wicked. We got over 3,000 people watching us, and we're just shy of 9 o'clock, over 9 o'clock. Just a smattering over 9 o'clock. It's 9:24 our end, folks. Share the damn live. 3,000 plus people watching. Please, don't go away looking thin. 3,000 of you. Folks, to wrap up. But y'all know y'all by Ashney. He had to come in the clap back. He had to come and try to clap back. And I can live with it, clap back any day. I can live with it. It's not people call you. It's what you answer to. I want you all know that. It's not Ashley Singh. He had to clap back, folks. He's never to call you. You see? He searched and he searched and he searched and he searched for all kind of degrading words. He clapped back. When all was said and done.
And that, in essence, is what contrasts the People's Progressive Party from the APNU-AFC. They will regale you with all that is needed to achieve perfection. That is the one thing that they are good at. Big and grand promises and fancy sounding words. That is their niche. That is their core expertise. Grand and lofty ideas and fancy sounding words. That's their core expertise.
We can take it. We are a people of ideas. And forgive us if we have a vocabulary. Lofty sounding words. Please and thank you. We've been to school. We didn't follow UG second year like here fun. You see? We have to go through to come true. And that's how we gain lofty sounding words. Please and thank you. PPP government, folks, and the Repentir dead. It's a voters list of what you find there, you know. This sudden interest. We bring a motion. They amended part of it and passed it. The motion. They amended a part of it and passed it. Suddenly they have an interest now. For 4 years, the cemetery remained unchanged. For 4 years. And now we have a plan. And the same people who got the lofty sounding words and brilliant ideas, restoring the cemetery to its former glory, is one of those ideas. They joined with we. They came on board and said, yes, come to sin. In your lofty idea. Yes, they agreed with us. And thereby passed the motion today. Please God. We're going to leave it there, folks. That's our time. And that's our program. That's our time. And that's our program. We had a couple other things we wanted to share with you. But let us leave it there in the interest of time. We know you guys have got other places to go and other people to see and things to do. Thank you guys so much. Marlon and Wendell and Sharon and Ivor. Ivor Miller, I see you there, my brother. I see you there. I hope that Atlanta is treating you kindly. Atlanta, Georgia is treating you and the missus kindly. Good to have you on the live tonight, my brother. Lucille and Andrew, Gale and Waveney. Good to have all of you on the live. Marcia and Michelle. Savage, Tish, Edwin, good to see you as well. Lester, Richard, good to see all of you folks. We're going to see you guys back on the next broadcast. And thanks for a healthy audience this Monday, the 17th day of February. 3,000 plus of you. Share the live before you go. You're coming back to watch our broadcast. Please share the live as well. And if you can, folks, we know how it goes. You know, we know things ain't just tight here. Things tight all over. But if you can, you're going to see a link shooting by. Partner with us so that we can keep our program going with pace and power. Thanks for joining us this evening, folks. We're going to see you guys on the next one. That's our time. And that's our program. Stay safe.